Sweetie, no! Come back!" The cry pierced the afternoon air, desperate and terrified. Marlo Reed, 24, was gathering shopping carts in the grocery store parking lot when she heard it. A mother's panic, raw and real. She turned just in time to see a tiny girl, maybe 4 years old, toddling straight toward the busy road. A delivery truck was backing up, its warning beeps lost in the noise of traffic. The child's blonde pigtails bounced as she chased after a red balloon drifting in the wind. Marlo didn't think. She ran. Her worn sneakers slapped against hot asphalt. The truck's reverse lights blazed white. Time seemed to stretch and compress all at once. She reached the little girl just as the truck lurched backward, scooping her up and diving to the side. They tumbled onto the pavement together, Marlo's body curling protectively around the child. The truck screeched to a halt. The driver jumped out, his face drained of color. And somewhere behind them, a woman was screaming. Marlo looked down at the little girl in her arms. Those wide brown eyes stared up at her, confused but unafraid. "You're okay, sweetheart. I've got you. You're safe now." The little girl's bottom lip trembled. "My balloon flew away." "I know, honey, but you're okay. That's what matters most." 30 feet away, in the back of a black limousine, Garrett Westbrook was paralyzed. He was 33 years old, a millionaire, a man who controlled boardrooms and made decisions worth millions without blinking. But in that moment, watching through tinted windows as his daughter nearly died, he couldn't move, couldn't breathe. And then he'd watched a stranger, a young woman in a grocery store vest, throw herself into danger without hesitation. His driver was already out of the car, running toward the scene. But Garrett sat frozen, his hands trembling, his heart hammering against his ribs. By the time he forced himself to move, the nanny had reached Marlo, sobbing apologies. "I'm so sorry. I turned around for 1 second, just 1 second to grab the bags." Marlo stood slowly, still holding the little girl. Her uniform was torn at the shoulder, a scrape bleeding down her arm. "It's okay. She's safe. That's all that matters." "Her father, oh God, her father is going to..." I'm right here." Garrett's voice was quiet, but it carried weight. He walked toward them, his expensive suit somehow out of place against the ordinary parking lot. When he reached Marlo, he stopped, looking at his daughter in her arms. The little girl's face lit up. "Daddy!" "Hello, Lilybug," he said softly, taking her carefully from Marlo. His hands were still shaking. He held his daughter close, breathing in the scent of her hair, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. Then he looked at Marlo, and she saw something raw and broken in his eyes. "You saved her," he said, his voice cracking. "I watched you. You didn't even hesitate." Marlo noticed her manager approaching from the store, looking concerned. She needed to get back to work. "I just did what anyone would do." "No." Garrett shook his head slowly. "No, they wouldn't. I was sitting in that car and I froze. I couldn't move. But you ran toward the danger." He paused, adjusting Lily in his arms. "What's your name?" "Marlo Reed." "Marlo." He said it like he was memorizing it. "I'm Garrett Westbrook. And this is Lily. She's 4 years old, and she's my entire world. And you gave her back to me." Marlo felt tears prickling her eyes. "I'm just glad she's okay." "Please," Garrett said as she turned to leave. "I need to do something, anything." "You don't owe me anything, Mr. Westbrook. Seeing her safe, that's enough." Over the following weeks, Garrett couldn't stop thinking about that moment, about Marlowe's immediate, selfless action, about the way she'd looked at his daughter with such tenderness, as if Lily were her own child. He found himself returning to that grocery store, though he couldn't explain why. He'd see Marlowe stocking shelves, helping elderly customers, always with that same gentle patience. She worked with a quiet dignity that moved something in his chest. One afternoon, he approached her while she was organizing produce. "Mr. Westbrook?" she said, surprised. "Is Lily okay?" "She's perfect, thanks to you. I've been wanting to talk to you. Really talk." Marlowe glanced around. "I'm working." "I know, I'm sorry, but He paused, choosing his words carefully. "That day changed something for me. Watching you risk your life for a stranger's child. I've spent years surrounded by people who want something from me. Everyone has an angle. And then you did what you did, expecting nothing." "I wasn't expecting praise, if that's what you're worried about." "I know, that's exactly my point." Garrett's voice softened. "I want to help you. I found out you're working 2 jobs, saving for college. Let me pay for it, all of it." Marlowe shook her head firmly. "I can't accept that." "Why not?" "Because that's not why I helped Lily. If I take your money, it turns that moment into a transaction. And it wasn't. It was just human." Garrett stared at her, something shifting in his expression. "You're remarkable. You know that?" "I'm just a grocery clerk trying to build a better life." "No," he said quietly. "You're someone who understands what really matters. Something I forgot a long time ago." 3 months passed. Garrett kept coming back, not to convince Marlowe to take his money, but to talk, to listen. They'd sit on the bench outside the store during her breaks, sharing stories. He told her about Lily's mother, who died 2 years ago in a car accident, about the loneliness of wealth, about forgetting how to connect with people. Marlowe told him about growing up in foster care, about aging out of the system at 18 with nothing, about working every day to build something stable, something real. "You know what I realized?" Garrett said one evening as the sun set behind the store. "Lily talks about you. She calls you the angel lady. She drew you a picture." He handed Marlowe a child's crayon drawing, stick figures of a woman with yellow hair holding a little girl's hand with hearts all around. Marlowe's eyes filled with tears. This is beautiful. She wants to see you again. Would you come to dinner? Just as friends? Just so she can thank you properly?" Marlowe looked at the drawing, then at Garrett's hopeful face. "Okay," she whispered. "I'd like that." The dinner changed everything, though not in the way either expected. Marlowe and Lily bonded instantly. The little girl climbed into Marlowe's lap, chattering about preschool and her favorite dolls. And Garrett watched them together, seeing something he hadn't seen in years, his daughter completely happy. Over the next months, Marlowe became part of their lives, not as an employee or someone Garrett had saved, just as someone who cared. She came to Lily's 5th birthday party. She taught Lily to bake cookies. She was there for bedtime stories and scraped knees. And slowly Garrett realized something. Marlowe had saved more than Lily's life that day in the parking lot. She'd saved his, too. One evening, after putting Lily to bed, they sat together in Garrett's living room. "I need to tell you something," he said quietly. "That day, when I watched you run toward that truck, I realized I'd forgotten how to be brave, how to feel anything real. I'd built this perfect, safe, empty life. and then you showed me what it looks like to actually live." Marlowe reached for his hand. "You're a good father, Garrett. You love Lily completely. That's the bravest thing there is." "I want you to go to college," he said suddenly. "Not as payment, not as debt, but because Lily and I want to invest in your future, the way you invested in ours when you saved her life. Garrett, please, let us be part of your story, the way you became part of ours. That's what people do. They help each other." Marlowe looked at him, tears streaming down her face. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." Years later, on the day Marlowe graduated with her teaching degree, Lily, now 8 years old, handed her a gift. Inside was that same crayon drawing from years ago, now framed with new words written beneath it in a child's careful handwriting.
"You saved me. Now you save other kids too." Marlowe pulled Lily into a hug, then looked at Garrett, who stood watching them with tears in his eyes. "Thank you," she said softly, "for letting me be part of your family." "Thank you," Garrett replied, his voice thick with emotion, "for teaching us that kindness isn't about what we can afford to give. It's about what we're willing to risk. You risked everything for a stranger that day, and somehow that changed all of our lives." Marlowe smiled through her tears. "The best things in life happen when we stop thinking and just act from the heart. When we choose love over fear. When we run toward each other, not away." Lily squeezed her hand. "Like you ran toward me." "Like I ran toward you," Marlowe agreed, kissing the top of her head. "And I'd do it again, every single time." Because that's what real kindness looks like. Not calculated or conditional, but instinctive and infinite. Changing lives in ways we never see coming. Creating families where there were strangers, and proving that sometimes the smallest acts of courage echo the longest. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.